Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to what's actually probably episode 1 of this series, where we are going to be playing the new Emperor expansion. If you haven't yet seen the overview, which I recorded before this thinking it would be the first episode, then I would recommend you go and do that now. It should be the beginning of this playlist. In that, we do talk about many of the new features, including the Holy Roman Empire, the papacy, new government reforms, the estates, and all that type of thing. Right now, though, I want to actually dive in and play some. And the nation that I have chosen to play as is going to be Lubeck. I have a real affinity for the Hanseatic League and the Hansa. I love the Hansa's history, and there is a bunch of new flavour stuff which has been added as part of Emperor. So the Hansa starts out as the city of Lubeck. We are in a trade league with Hamburg and I think Riga. So we have a couple of friends, and we should also be able to expand outwards. And there are a couple of things which I would like to try out. So first of all, merchant republics have been rebalanced. We are a merchant republic, and we can basically take over territory anywhere. We are no longer really limited in how large we can grow. Merchant republics don't have that kind of limit anymore. However, there is the possibility to create trade companies anywhere in the world. So it's not just Africa, India, and the Far East. It is now everywhere. So we could create a trade company in, I don't know, Denmark, if we wanted to, for example. However, that does come with a downside, and that is we don't have access to estates, which is why I was so eager to talk about the estates when I was doing the overview. Alright, let's jump in. Starting a new game, normal mode. Actually, before we do that, where are the settings? Game options. Just want to make sure that difficulty is normal, turned off. Lucky nations. Don't like lucky nations. Not my way of playing. Okay, so obviously a large part of our plan here is going to be trade, and I'm missing something. Trade. That's it. The cities of Lubeck, Bremen, and Hamburg are all members of the venerable Hanseatic League, a once mighty confederation of trade interests along the Baltic Sea, which has since fallen on hard times. Although these Hanseatic cities do not enjoy the majesty and riches they once had, they still have a considerable mercantile power at their disposal, and their treasuries are nothing to scoff at. Although the Hanseatic cities still have some muscle, they have much to do if they are to restore the old glory of the Hansa. Denmark introduced tolls for use of the Sound between Sjælland and Skåne in 1429, and these sound tolls are throttling the last remnants of the Hanseatic trade in and out of the Baltic. If commerce is to prosper once more, the Danes must learn the error of their trade policies. Further east, the city of Visby on the island of Gotland was once a formidable and rich Hanseatic town, but a Danish attack on Visby in 1361 and various following depredations by the Danes and the pirates ruined the city's wealth and autonomy. The recovery of Visby and the conquest of Gotland would be a key moment in the revitalization of the Hanseatic League. The Hanseatic cities cannot ignore German affairs either. The free cities of the League owe their allegiance to the Holy Roman Empire and enjoy imperial immediacy, able to deal directly with the imperial court rather than working through the various regional organs. Although the Holy Roman Empire guarantees the independence of the Hanseatic cities for now, any effort to centralise the empire could become a dire threat to the future of the cities and to the League. We are Catholic with all of the Catholic stuff. We are a merchant republic, and that will allow us to create trade posts and generate more trade power. We can also create trade cities, and we have 3 factions instead of the estates. We also have access to the government reforms of the Merchant Republic, and we are in the Empire. I don't think that any of these bits have changed, so I'm not going to bother reading those. So, as you may well insinuate, one of the things which Lubeck can do is reform the Hanseatic League. I am not 100% sure how to do that. There doesn't actually seem to be a national decision about it, nor is there a triggered modifier, which is anything to do with the Hansa. It did say that taking Gotland and Visby would be a key factor in getting the Hansa up and running again, so I would like to do that. I would also, just as an aside, like to try and establish Hanseatic trading cities in many of the historical locations. So the big areas were Bergen up in Norway. There was Lubeck, Hamburg, Stettin, Rostock, Danzig. And that's going to be an interesting one to get. Riga. Novgorod. Although I may make that Neva instead of Novgorod because it's not actually coastal. Although it is still a market town, so maybe. Then over on this side, Zeeland. I think, no, Brugge. Brugge was one. London, technically. Edinburgh, technically, although those were much smaller trade contours. And I think those were the big ones. Stockholm was a trade contour. The other thing I want to point out is there is a new tag up here, which is kind of, actually two of them, which is kind of interesting. So we have got Wolgast, which has been added, and then Stettin. These are replacing the old Pomerania tag. They do both have the Pomeranian ideas. Oops, I can't show you that right now because I'm not on observer mode, which are actually really cool. We're probably going to have to do a Pomeranian game in the future because they get a lot of piracy bonuses. And Rugen, I believe that there is an event related to releasing Rugen as a Pirate Republic. So there is possibly a Baltic Pirate Republic in Rugen, and that is a new province as well. Or is it Bornholm? No, I think it's Rugen. Anyway, so we have our work cut out for us. We are, at the start, a one-province minor. We do generate a healthy amount of money. We have the three factions, which are the aristocrats, the traders, and the guilds. Currently, the aristos are in power, which is giving us reduced trade power abroad, but increased military strength, and also more sailors. The traders would give us less taxes, but more trade, and more cheaper ships. And then the guilds gives us cheaper construction, less manpower, but more goods produced. We, as a merchant republic, will be increasing the goods produced of everyone around us. So if we take a look at the trade node for Lubeck, we should see that should go up once the game is unpaused, I suspect. Unfortunately, we don't have access to the new estates, which is very unfortunate. Stability and expansion, I don't think that those have changed anymore. There are no policies. Oh yeah, we have a mission tree, apparently. Never that bothered about the mission trees. Oh, I wonder if this is how we create the Hansa. Hold on, maybe we should be bothered. So we can actually go for the Newfoundland trading ports, which is going towards the Americas. Here it is, Unite the League. And if we do that, Lubeck gets the Unite the Hanseatic League until the end of the game, giving a diplomatic relation. Riga, Bremen, Hamburg, and Oldenburg become a vassal. Country name changes to the Hanseatic League. So, okay, we are going to care about the missions because that is our ultimate objective. So we need to end the sound toll, which is controlling Lund and Sjælland. Getting Denmark to be at peace and for them to like us with at least 150, or for them not to have the sound toll modifier. We need to defend the city, which is having an army of 12,000 or higher. Our current army limit is 7,000, so that is not very likely. Merchant Navy is have at least 20 light ships. That's just something that's going to happen in time. And then be the strongest trade power in Lubeck. That is another thing which is just going to have to happen in time. We currently have a 433 ruler, which is not terrible, and they do have the Morale of Armies modifier, which is going to be quite nice, and we're also going to need to choose rivals. Before we do that, though, let's take a look at the diplomacy and see if there is anybody who wants to make an alliance with us. So Riga, Bremen, Hamburg, Diethmarschen, Oldenburg, Wolgast, Magdeburg, and we could probably get Brandenburg if we work at them. I would very much like to get Brandenburg, but I think the first ally is going to be Wolgast, because I have no real intention of expanding there, and I think that they're going to be a nice naval power to have on our side. And I mean, who's in our trade league at the start? That's another thing we should actually be taking a look at as well, is inviting people to the trade league. Wait. Yeah, it's like, why can Wolgast join us? They're definitely not just one province. Diethmarschen could, and having Diethmarschen as a trade member would actually be quite nice. So Diethmarschen is a peasant republic, and there are some new mechanics related to peasant republics, I believe. Not actually 100% sure what they are, I just know that they exist. I also know that Diethmarschen used to be unique in being a peasant republic. There are now more of them, including one which in my test game as Holland kind of took me by surprise. It is Friesland. Friesland is now a peasant republic as well. which gives production efficiency and morale of armies. And it was that starting 5% morale of armies which kind of caught me unawares. So there are a couple more of them spread around the world. Those are the only two that I found so far, though. We do need to choose some rivals. So at the moment we have Saxe-Lauenburg, Lubeck and Verden as enemies. I think that making Verden an enemy is going to be good for us. So let's do that. Then Lubeck, sure. And it actually shows who have us as rivals. That's actually very useful to see. Okay, cool. So those are going to be our rivals. We have exactly the opposite as us. War taxes. War taxes has changed. It's now a 2 military power per month until the war is over. It's automatically renewed. You don't need to keep pressing a button to do it. You probably do still need to click the button, though, which is something I am definitely going to be forgetting to do. I'm going to grab 2 advisors, I think. I'm going to grab the discipline guy and probably an admin guy. Tax modifier, trade efficiency. Right, so what are we making the most money out of? Trade, for sure. So I think we're going to go for a Diplo guy to get the trade income. Okay. Oh, actually, while I'm thinking about this, one of the other things which estates allow is you can basically call an estate diet. So there's a internal council that you can call on, and they will give you other missions in exchange for loyalty and influence. So one of the missions I had, for example, playing in my Holland test game, was with the Burghers. If I increased the development in one of the provinces, then the Burghers would give me a cash injection and more loyalty and more influence. And then you could basically choose between the nobilities one, which was like increase your army to maximum capacity, or like have 10,000 men or something like that. There was the clergy one, which was increase papal relations to a certain level, and then there was the Burgher one, which was increase your development by a certain level. So that's another way that you can interact with the estates as well. So I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to have access to the estates in this game. But if you would like to see how the estates play, then I would heartily recommend you come and watch twitch.tv. It should be a game going on this evening, starting at 6 PM British Summer Time on the 6th of June. That is going to be a massive multiplayer game with a bunch of other content creators, and I am going to be playing as Holland in that. So if you would like to see the estates actually in play, then check out the multiplayer game at twitch.tv/MordredViking. I will be streaming my perspective. All of the other content creators will be streaming their perspectives. We've got people like Quill18, Shenre, Midgeman, Benjamin Magnus, Grugi, one of the main designers of EU4 is playing, Starnan, the producer of EU4 is playing, Helson, Sir Squire. There's a huge list. You can find that on our Discord, which you can also find linked in the description below. Cool, but we are playing this single player. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to do. I should probably increase the number of troops that we have. So let's grab another 2 infantry. For example, that's also going to be good for manpower usage. Do I want my armies training, or do I want them on low maintenance? And also, why is the outlier not open? Ooh, we're actually losing money right now. That's not good. Alright, let's cut down the maintenance, so hopefully we don't lose as much money. The other thing we should do is deploy our ships, actually. So let's have you... Oh, what's these? Allow friendly fleets to attach to this fleet, attach to another fleet. Oh, that's interesting. Protect some trade in Lubeck. And then this fleet are my combat ships. I think I'm just going to go ahead and have you mothball. I'm going to keep the fort up and running, just in case we do get into a war. And then speed 3... We can only do 1 alliance a month, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. No, we can do some more. So who else did we want to get on our side? We wanted to try and get Brandenburg, Magdeburg, Oldenburg. Oldenburg could be good, especially with Verden right there. And we wanted to see who was in our trade league. So currently the trade league is Riga, Oldenburg, and Bremen. So we don't necessarily want alliances with those 4. Riga, Oldenburg, Bremen, Hamburg. Because they will already come to our aid if we get attacked. And it's primarily for defences that I'm looking to get allies here. So Riga, Bremen, Hamburg, Oldenburg. So Diethmarschen is another choice, and I think I am going to grab Diethmarschen. And then we're going to try and work on Brandenburg. So let's go ahead and send you... I'm going to be a bit rusty with the controls here. It's been a while. To Brandenburg. Do I want to increase relations with anybody else? Probably worth doing with the Emperor, just in case. And just to double check that Austria does start as the Emperor. Okay, because I know that Bohemia has real ambitions to become the Emperor as well. Okay, so now we're making money. No, we're not. We're losing money. That says we're oh, okay, rebalanced. So we are in fact making money. Okay, that's good. Trade conflicts against the Teutons. Humiliate rival CB against Saxe-Lauenburg, Lubeck, and Verden. So the Teutons are doing something to us. Blockading? No, boycotting? Embargoing. Embargo. That's probably what they're doing. Speaking of embargoes, we should probably issue a couple of our own. Well, let's see if we can get the relations with Brandenburg up first. Because I'd really like to ally them. And there we go. So let's cancel you. Let's bring Brandenburg into the alliance now. Boom. Okay, so that's good. We have 3 out of 3 relations. One of our 4 relation slots is being used by the Trade League. And then we have Brandenburg, Diethmarschen, and Wolgast as well. So I'm pretty happy with that collection of allies. I think that's going to be quite strong for us. And now it's going to be time to expand the Trade League. So we could invite Diethmarschen. However, I think we want to invite people who are not actually allies right now. So let's bring Anhalt in. Brilliant government. Our most serene republic has governed extremely efficiently this last year. There's now the possibility for us to benefit from this. So we can get prestige or we can get money. I'm a trade nation, so I'm going to take the money. Nassau would now not agree. Goslar. Who else is likely? Goslar is a -17, so not very. Who's this? Saxe-Lauenburg. You know what? Saxe-Lauenburg would be a really good one to have, seeing as it is in the Lubeck trade node. So the more trade powers that we have in this area, the better. So we're going to start improving relations with Saxe-Lauenburg. Did I make you a rival? Are we rivals? Yeah, we are. Okay, maybe not Saxe-Lauenburg then. I knew that I'd make a screw up of that kind. So Diethmarschen would like to join, but if I get Diethmarschen in, then these guys are going to become less likely. So I'd kind of like to leave Diethmarschen until last. So is there anybody else? These are further down. These guys actually feed into Lubeck, so grabbing one of those would be good. I think I'm going to try and get Goslar if I can. It's close. Alright, so let's send relations to Goslar, and hopefully that works. Alright, so we've got one of our soldiers built. That's good. Trade conflict against Sweden. So yeah, they are embargoing us, even though we're not at war with them, which seems particularly harsh. So we should probably start doing some embargoes in turn, although we're not rivals with these guys. So it's a little bit crazy that they're doing that. Also, where are our merchants right now? We have Rhineland, Saxony, and the Baltic. We don't actually have anybody collecting in Lubeck, and I would quite like there to be somebody collecting in Lubeck. So let's grab... That's Saxony, that's Krakow. So we've got Saxony, the Baltic, and Rhineland. Rhineland does feed into us, and I think that Saxony is a new node. They have changed the nodes here a little bit. And they've also split up the trade node of Genoa, Valencia, and Sevilla. Primarily Genoa and Valencia. Split that in half, basically. I'm not sure how I felt about that, because I actually quite liked the fact that Genoa was a really big node, but also really competitive, with a lot of big powers trying to steal money from that. This actually feels like it's going to be a lot easier to consolidate what is already one of the most powerful trade nodes in the game for the Italian states. So we'll have to see how exactly that changes things. Although this does give Aragon a significant amount of power over Valencia. So they may just be able to trap money and stop it going into Genoa. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the Rhineland guy and then put them into Lubeck instead. So 3, 2, 1, 0. We are now collecting here. The amount of money we make here is now increased by another 10%. And we should generate more cash. 3.8. We do. Definitely. They tell us the Kingdom of Italy and the Empire. For years now, imperial authority over the Kingdom of Italy has been waning. Successive emperors have failed to impose their will on the Italian state, so they have begun to act with total disregard for imperial laws and customs. Unless the wayward nations of northern Italy are firmly reined in soon, Italy may slip out of the imperial control forever. The emperor can rein in Italian states by defending them in any war or by securing an alliance or strong relations with them. So Austria is going to have to start playing really quite diplomatic in order to prevent the Shadow Empire. I thought that that would be an incident, but apparently it is not. At least not yet. And that's the final unit for our army. So we are now at full strength. We are still not paying the army, and I still feel a little bit wary of not having them paid at all. So I think we're going to have them at like half morale. Something like that, because most of our neighbours have the troops up. Sweden has cancelled their embargo. That's very nice of you. Now, can I get those guys in? No, not yet. Magdeburg is very, very close. Successor to Windislav III. They are going for a Jagiellonian. And Austria has announced Savoy as a new rival. Alright. Alright, so Magdeburg is clearly raising relations with us at the moment. Denmark is too. That's interesting. If I can get an alliance with Denmark, I would not be averse to that. You know what? I would accept this. So let's stop improving relations with Austria just for a moment. Because one of the requisites for breaking the Sound Toll is just having good relations with the Danes. And an easy way of gaining good relations, making an alliance. Okay. So I would say that we are now pretty well secured in the north. We've got Wolgast, we've got Denmark, and we have Brandenburg. Come at me, enemies. We have some hefty allies. I suspect that Denmark wanted mostly the alliance because of all the rebels they're getting, and they wanted their own realm to be secured. But I quite like the fact that we have the Danes on side. We are almost certainly going to get drawn into a war of independence against the Swedes, but I'm okay with that. That would just be a little bit of free practice. And we are still protected by the Trade League, if anybody comes after us. One thing we do need to be careful about is going negative prestige. If we go negative prestige, then the Trade League can end. And that would be very bad. Very, 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 very bad. Well, now that we have the Danes actually on our side, I feel a lot better about not paying the army. Because we can just run away into Holstein and Denmark if we absolutely need to. Alright, so let's take a look. Trade League. Goslar would now accept, and then we could probably get Magdeburg after that. So let's go and send a guy to Goslar. And then the next one that we're probably going to want is Magdeburg. Oh no, Magdeburg's a two province. It's not a single province. Alright, never mind. Nassau? Nassau would. Lucas too far away, so is Silly, so is Mulhouse, so is Ansbach. I don't think any of the others are really close enough to do this for us, so it's gonna have to be Nassau. So when we have our guy back again, we will send you to Nassau, and we'll see if we can get some friends up there as well. We're going to be playing very tall and very trade heavy here. I mean, we basically have to. We are a league of trading cities. Curia Controller has picked a golden bull, so here we go. This is one of the new mechanics for the papacy. So the Pope has decided to bless us, enacting the following golden bull. Christiana Pietas. Development cost is reduced by 5%, tolerance of heathens is increased by 2. This is a benefit, I think, to every single Catholic nation. I just want to take a look at the modifiers. If we take a look at the tolerance of heretics, Catholics still a -1. Ah, here we go. Tolerance of heathens, +2. So yes, the golden bulls do indeed affect everybody. So that's a benefit that they can bestow upon the whole of Christendom. Well, the whole of Catholicism, rather, not Christendom. Those Protestants and those Hussites and those Reformed, they don't get that benefit. And it's more likely that more golden bulls will be passed, depending on the amount of money in the Curia controller... Sorry, in the Curia's coffers. And there's more money in the Curia coffers, the more people that are Catholic. So that is something which will weaken over time as the Reformation strikes. Oldenburg has left the Trade League. What? Okay, so I guess I'd need to improve relations with those guys, or Oldenburg just grew too big. Brunswick, where's Oldenburg? There. They have definitely not grown. Yeah, I think it's because their relations went down. Alright, so that's another thing that we're going to need to consider. I could really do with a third diplomat. So let's stop improving relations with Goslar. Let's improve with Oldenburg again. See if we can bring them back on side. And then we're improving relations with Nassau. Can we bring Nassau into the Trade League? Yes, we could. Let's give that a go. This is, however, going to make it harder to get Oldenburg in. So we definitely need to spend some time juggling... Oh, no, you really don't like us because we are allied to Dithmarschen. That's why they left. Okay, so the size of the Trade League is having a negative impact, but Oldenburg just don't like us. So there's only really one recourse left. We've got to conquer them. And I think I am going to go ahead and invite Dithmarschen now, because they're going to give me more of their trade power. It is going to make it more difficult to bring in other people, but they are in my trade node. They are by far and away the most useful person to be doing this. So if we take a quick look at the trade power that we're getting, we can see that we're gaining some from Bremen, Hamburg, and Dithmarschen because they're all present, and if they're in the Trade League, they give their trade power to me. Basically in exchange for this mutual alliance. Any member of the Trade League gets attacked, all members respond in a defensive call. It's quite nice. And now we're making a decent amount of money, so we could potentially build some more ships. Do we want to? I don't think it's really worth building barks, but building galleys could be. They are cheap, and they will allow us to have a lot more power in the seas, starting to do blockades and things like that. Do I want to spend the money though? Or, we lost an advisor. That would explain why I'm making so much more money now. I think I would rather just have a third advisor, so we're going to save up enough money so that we can afford their hiring cost. And then we're going to get a third advisor. We're just going to go converting this money into monarch points. Because monarch points are kind of important, especially if you're planning to do development. Which I am. And who is in charge at the moment? I'd quite like the traders to come in. So I'm going to go and spend a little bit of power. That was Diplo power. And the traders are now in charge. And they give me more global trade power. Which should even further boost the amount of money we're making. And now I can take the national tax guy. We don't have any loans, so yearly inflation should be untouched. We can do that. We have stopped improving relations with the Austrians. We should start again. And let's take a look. Inviting to Trade League. So the next nearest would be Magdeburg. They're too big. Lucca's too far away. Silly's too far away. Mulhouse, maybe. Mulhouse is in the Rhineland trade node. So they are feeding into us. Unlike anyone that's in the Champagne trading node. So yeah, I think Mulhouse is probably worth working on. As soon as I can remember where on earth they are. There they are. Let me just double check that you are in fact in Rhineland. You are. So let's go and improve relations with Mulhouse. Alright, good. Good, 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 good. I think we can probably go to Speed 4. Now that I've eased myself back into the game and kind of remember what's going on. We are definitely going to need to take expansion slowly. I don't know where exactly we're thinking of going first. Saxe-Lauenburg, probably. And especially as they're allied to Verden, who we are also rival to. So a war against Saxe-Lauenburg at some point would probably be rather profitable. Although I am somewhat tempted to wait until Denmark likes us enough to actually join the war. Maybe we should do this after Sweden tries to break. Because I think that's going to be a fairly early conflict, and it is one I would like to help the Danes out with. An early Denmark is actually quite good for us. Alright, so Mulhouse, how are you doing? It's going to take some doing to get you into our trade league. And actually, we've got 8 members. That means 8 people would join the war if we do get attacked. My most noble syndic, your eldest son, is on trial for corruption and bribery. There is no doubt that these charges are true. The conviction of your eldest son would be a serious personal blow to you. On the other hand, we could, of course, interfere in the trial and secure his innocence. So at the moment we are at full Republican tradition, so we could definitely cash in 5 Republican tradition for 60 monarch points. However, we are a 35-year-old. We are already a 533. So getting ourselves re-elected, I think, would be a big deal. But right now there's no point doing withdrawal from public life because we're already at maximum Republican tradition. So I'm quite happy to spend 5. It will take us 5 years to regain that. Next election's in 48, so that's next year. That's okay. Moldavia tells us the event of the Romans' invasion. Submit to Romans' rule. Oh, Roman Musat. It's not literally the Romans. I was going to say, pretty sure they've been gone for a while. I mean, that does bring in entire other questions like, are the Romans still around? Do they count as the Romans? I personally would say nope. I would say the fall of Western Rome was the end of Rome. Eastern Rome was a different entity. You have tried to maintain a relative neutrality as the syndic to the guilds, especially since they have somewhat fallen out of favour in Lubeck. You are not the member of any guild, nor would it, in the current political climate, be appropriate for you to be. Yet that situation may change. The Republic's most prominent guild has offered you membership, even promising to maintain secrecy regarding this as a long needed. Quite a bold suggestion, although refusing would still put you on bad terms with that guild. So we can lose 50 admin, or we can lose Republican tradition, but the guilds like us more. Nope, I'm going to say no. Don't want the guilds. Byzantium has announced Genoa as a new rival. Although, actually, that being said, the guilds gaining, what was it, 30? Would have put them on 55. They would have lost 15, so they would be on 25. Yeah, it would have cost a fair amount to bring the traders back into power. And we're currently passively gaining trade influence because the navy tradition is pretty good. Army tradition is down, and then influence is going down because it's not actually telling me. Why have I lost influence? Probably because the other two are going up. That would make the most sense. Right, another thing I do need to do is embargo my rivals so that we can start generating a bit more power projection. So once we have Mulhouse, I think that's what we need to do. How far are we from getting you? Quite a long way. So let's cancel Mulhouse for now. We'll come back to you. And we're going to set up trade embargoes against our rivals. So issue embargo against you, against Verden, and who was the third rival? Lubeck. Man, they're all next to each other. It's these 3. Okay, so that's 3 people in the Lubeck trade node that we've just reduced in strength fairly significantly, which should in turn increase our own trade percentage here, which would be lovely. Then let's go and return our diplomat to Mulhouse. We're doing a lot more diplomatic work than I seem to remember doing in this game before. But that's okay. That's okay. So Denmark has now dealt with their rebels and is looking relatively stable. How is the Liberty Desire of Sweden? Liberty's Desire is now up to 45%, so yeah, things are definitely getting a little strenuous between those two. However, that is going to have to be it for this episode. I do hope you're enjoying this. If you are, be sure to hit that follow button. Subscribe button. This is YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications when new episodes go up. There will be several new episodes a day until the day of release, at which point I'll go down to 2 episodes and then eventually back to the 1 a day, as is how I usually handle new releases. If you would like to see me playing these games live, I am over at twitch.tv/Mordred Viking, and in fact, a reminder, this evening, 6 o'clock PM, British summertime, big multiplayer game of Europa Universalis IV Emperor. I really do encourage you to come along and watch. I think it's going to be a fantastic show. I'm playing as Holland, so this is going to be some more trade and some more naval shenanigans, because that is what I love to do in this game. And yeah, I am super excited about it. Hence, I keep talking about it. And I really would urge you to come along and watch. You can find that at twitch.tv/MordredViking at 6 o'clock PM this evening, British summertime. And then again, also tomorrow, that is Sunday. So this evening, the 6th, Saturday the 6th, and tomorrow, Sunday the 7th, same time. It's going to be awesome. If you would like to support the stuff that I do here on the channel, check out the Patreon, which you can find linked in the description below. And also, if you wish to join the community, they're a great bunch. It's always a real pleasure to see some new people there as well. Then you can check out the Discord, which is also linked below. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.